Welcome to my basic Tempest Rising build order guide. Been playing this style of game for over 2 days now, so therefore I'm a complete and total expert. So, remember, before we get started, you're not able to build a barracks until you smash the like button and even subscribe. But that's the first thing we're going to do as GDF, besides building that power node, which we need to do. You can hotkey your barracks beforehand. You just can't build out of it yet. We're going to be building 5 scouts. 5. It's not perfect on every map, but the methodology is there. So what I'm going to do is make sure I secure my Tempest money zones. And if you don't know what those are, well, that's why you're losing all your games. But the Tempest Processing Center gives you 50 credits every 4 seconds and provides 100 power, which is incredible, insane, madness. 2 of them, and you've got pretty much a new harvester. So what I'm going to do is play bunker tech. I'm going to try to grab these fortifications. The first scouts are going to go towards... It's different on each map, but I'm going to grab those fortifications, and if I get there first, I can pretty easily cut off my opponent. So usually there's enough, you can fan them out. Also important note, you get 500 credits back when your engineer kind of converts into being the Tempest Center, which is kind of weird, but...
On your command.
So that's how that works as well. I'm not even going to bother trying to steal his. We're playing against the AI, but we're assuming I'm playing against a player. Like, that's the thought process. But this is your basic expand into drones and Humvees, which usually does pretty well against both GDF and Dynasty. So we're going to grab this one. I've got another engineer building. Gonna hotkey it back there. So you got to be a little careful that if you spam too hard too early, you might stall out and not be able to build either units or your refineries. I think it's better to just right-click and pause production on refineries if possible. Make sure you get the NGs out. Grab that back there. So 5 scouts, 3 NGs, 2 refineries, 1 like and subscribe. But next, vehicle bay. This is in order to get some Humvees. I think they're called Sentinels, which are really good at just straight up fighting as well for some reason. I don't know why they're so good. So this is my 3rd engineer. Almost every single map has this sort of radar dish over here. And that allows you to build in that zone. And that's how we're going to get more refineries. All right? We must construct additional refineries. And as I have my Tempest Processing Centers, we're going to go to the Doctrines, get rapid deployment, and then resistant treads, which makes your harvesters move faster, which is good, because then your harvesters move faster. You can figure that out on your own. All right? It's not that hard. It's obviously a good thing. So, filling in a few more scouts. If my opponent seems especially antsy, I like to build a few extra scouts and just kind of put them in some of the rest of the buildings. Prioritizing the fortification buildings. These big boys. They give you extra vision, they heal your units, they make you more handsome because nobody can see you, and therefore they don't know what you look like. So that's the benefit of those things. And now, the Doctrine's going to finish. And we're going to start. We're just going to queue up 100 drone operators. Now, your results may vary. Remember, you don't always necessarily want to be building drone operators, but they're really good as long as you cover them with some Humvees. A drone operator Humvee is, the droners and the Humvees are kind of the GDF early game rush strategy. So I'm building some refineries over there. You see, getting a little space. Oh, he's Dynasty, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Now, I've got this on the way, and I'm not going to get any other Doctrines. If I know they're being, like, if they're building a bunch of turrets in their base, you don't need turrets as either Dynasty or GDF until you know for sure they want to attack you. All right? Building turrets early is how you kind of cut into your build and make your life that much more difficult. So, at this point, just sending it out. A lot of players this early will think they can expand and just get more Tempest rigs and stuff like that. They're wrong. Okay, and we're going to teach them that lesson the most painful way, so they go whine to all their 38-year-old friends who played Red Alert when they were a child and had more time and definitely more APM. So, you can get a surprising amount. The key to the Sentinel, especially against the GDF, but also against Dynasty, is it's a very high DPS, and it can't get run over. At least not. Well, it can get run over by Tempest rigs, but... So this guy's being annoying. You can always heal. If it looks like I'm doing well, I'm going to get another refinery up there. But we're aiming for 3 to 4. Honestly, the difference is kind of important, but... And for now, as this refinery is finishing, I'm going to start building hunter tanks. I like to hotkey them all together, get the rally point going on. No more doctrines unless I think the game is going to go on. Because they take too long to pay off, and this is not a long game. Alright. Right now, the average game, I'd say, at the higher level, such as it is, like 7 to 10 minutes. So good luck getting a whole bunch of doctrines then. Getting these tanks. We're gonna queue up some more of the Humvee. A healthy mix. You don't want to get too many... Wait, what are you doing? Hunter tanks, yeah. So the hunter tanks are not really DPS. They are just for tank. Occasionally you can send them to go run over some of the lesser nerds, aka infantry. But that really doesn't work very well. And if you are going to try to run them over, here's the tip. Do not micro too hard. Because every time you issue a move command, if it's not quite where they want to go, they will just spin in place. Like the... Oh my god. Idiots there. So. Now, if I was going to progress out of this, let's say he had a good counter, which is like pillager tanks or a whole lot of... just so much infantry, you can't really deal with it. Well, the next step of the process is going to just be more tanks. And then progressing up the tech tree. Some people like going air. If you think you can micro air and get the Quellers early on, those can be good. But especially against Dynasty, they usually have a lot of missile troopers, so it's a bit dicey. I prefer going for satellite uplink and getting riot troopers or grenadiers. Riot troopers if they have a lot of vehicles, and grenadiers if they have a lot of infantry, like mass missile troopers or mostly missile troopers. It's almost always missile troopers. So I don't want to kill them yet. We're gonna pause. The idea is we shouldn't need to pause production. All right, we shouldn't need to pause production, at least not very much, because yeah, if I was gonna pause anything right now, it would be the Humvees. If I have enough, like 10 or so, that's probably enough to like. The Humvees also help kill air. They're just good tank. They have a lot of HP for their cost in general. Yeah, 500 versus the 900 for the tank. Let's trust me. All right, they're good. They're not your main DPS, but they mess everything up for your enemies. So satellite uplink. And if I think like for example, if you see this, okay, then guess what? All right, you're gonna have to play a longer game. That is, what are flame turrets, like 600-700? That is an entire new construction yard of turrets, and he cannot move his turrets around the map. So yeah, we're going to a slightly longer game.
Unit ready.
So
Constructing.
the satellite uplink gives you access to grenadiers and riot troopers.
Training.
I'm gonna demonstrate the riot troopers because there's a very important point. I'd recommend mostly the grenadiers, but riot troopers have a specific purpose, especially before you get a lot of anti-tank, and it is the EMP grenades. These dudes, pretty sick, but you might notice doesn't look like he's ready to throw a grenade, because he isn't, because for some GDF forsaken reason, they start in melee mode, which when you're trying to do anti-tank is not ideal, because well, you can figure it out. So you have to press this button, range mode, with each one, or you wait till you have a bunch of them and then switch them. But When they're in melee mode, they can bash infantry and stun them, but you already have a lot of anti-infantry stuff. So usually the use is if they have a lot of vehicles, which are threatening your drone operators. Well, then you can disable the vehicles with the EMP. And it's not an ability, it's just an auto attack. Let's see if I can demonstrate over here.
Anywhere you say.
Well, get over there. Thankfully, you can't run over your own troops.
Unit ready.
That would be horrible.
Our base is under attack.
So, the downside of this is if there's no vehicles to attack, they will just run to their death. So it's a little finicky.
Our base is under attack.
So be careful with that. Where did your vehicles go? Also, you have the option. Oh, well, of course. All right, coming back. But at this point, so I haven't found a good way to remember to build the doctrines. It's super annoying actually because
Base is under attack.
all right, there you go. Do the thing. EMP grenades. And now they are silenced and EMP'd, unable to move or attack. So if you, especially mixing a few of these in, can straight up. And also, remember those tanks will block other tanks. So if you EMP a few things on the front line, it's going to be a mess. Usually in your favor, because GDF usually has more range.
Our base is under attack.
So generally, you're looking at like 3 to 4 production facilities. You can support
Our base is
regular production with 4-ish refineries. But that's really pushing it. It's more like 3, and then if you're feeling fancy, you can get another one later. See if we can do a little bit of flattening. Oh, okay, they're just dying. Just do not, just no touching. So the AI is very good at avoiding it.
under attack.
Much better than players. Much better than players. Players will F2 or select all army and move their entire army. But yeah, your late game options. Once you get the Tempest pod from the data core, which you don't want to do too quick. Gotta pause, MCV, are gonna be the Trebuchet, the Scrambler. The Trebuchet is a siege tank. Scrambler. And honestly, I haven't figured out what specialists I like yet. For like the drone mauler is incredibly good at killing tanks. It's insanely good. But it's also still an infantry unit. It's not a specialist, it's just a base infantry unit that costs intel, of which I have plenty. But a lot of intel units do not cost any credits. So if you're not using your intel, you're being dumb. Like me right now. So that's usually if they survive the initial wave, you figure out a way to spend your intel. Whether it's on drone maulers if you're desperate, or you tech up into... Oh, you just... Unfortunately, we don't have a replay function, please. But I know I threw a lot at it. But the starter build of going for the drone operators and the Humvees, good. And here's my tip. If somebody beats you with something, you try to replicate it. Alright? Especially if you think you did the build well. And somehow you got rolled up. There's a few strategies that just straight up counter it. Not too many that I've seen. Like, they have to be specifically countering it, but... Then, what I've been doing so far is seeing what beats me, and then learning how to do it, and then turning it around. So that's how strategy games work. So I did not spoon feed you a build. I drizzled a build all over you, and now you can lather it all over you wherever it needs to go. And from there, it should give you the morale boost you need in order to find success. So like and subscribe, and good luck, Commander. Nice.